Hey guys, hope you are all well. Welcome to our first podcast. And let's see, is everything working? I guess so. Yep, that looks good. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I wanted to welcome everyone on the stream for our very first podcast, the first episode of the Ready Me podcast. And today I wanted to also announce that we have some special guests here. The boys and I decided we want to host some regularly reoccurring event. And that's what we came up with. We wanted to introduce ourselves first, and then we're going to talk about a couple topics over and over throughout the next weeks. So, as you can see in the chat already, our boy Furious is here. You may want to introduce yourself.
Yo, what is up, guys? This is Daddy Furious in the house.
Okay, so also Leon Legend, can you maybe introduce yourself shortly, like a couple words, which kingdom
Beyond
you're playing
Legend,
on?
baby.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clearly,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you everyone for inviting me. I'm Leon Legend. I'm an upcoming content creator. I'm putting out videos, sometimes in a funny way, sometimes in a serious manner. And I'm looking forward to be having this discussion with you guys.
That's great to hear. Also, one guy is missing, as you can see on the bottom right window. FrogBoii initially wanted to take part, but sadly had some very urgent personal stuff coming up, so he's not around today with us. But he will join our next episodes, and we are trying to maintain this series throughout the next weeks. Maybe you guys want to also give some, words from which kingdoms you are, so people actually get to know you a bit better. And after that, I will also introduce myself shortly.
Hey, Furious, can you start?
Yeah, sure. All right, guys. You may know me by Daddy Furious. I do have a small YouTube channel. Yours truly. So I recently migrated to 1365. And first of all, before I even start, let me apologize for my clogged voice. I am sick as hell. I don't know what I caught. Maybe it's a COVID. Maybe it's just a flu. I have no idea. But I took a break. I'm on vacation from work because we have a pass fight, we have KBK, and I will not be working till after the New Year's Eve. So I should be at home and hopefully recovering soon and gonna be doing more podcasts with you guys. But yeah, again, Daddy Furious from 1365. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, hello everyone. I already introduced myself. I'm Leo Legend. I'm a member of the Kingdom 2142. I'm proud to say that I'm a part of this kingdom. It has a great leadership, and I was willing to share a few thoughts about the upcoming KVK with that we signed up. It's Storm of Stratagems. But at the same time, later on in the podcast, I would like to discuss about the allies and the enemies that have been decided. And I hope it's going to be entertaining because there's a lot to discuss about, and I'm quite frankly not happy about how things are going on. So stay posted.
Already dropping some spoilers. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
the people on this channel should know me, at least those that usually tune in. My name is Synod. I'm playing in 903, and we are really looking forward to dive into a couple topics. So first of all, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a bit weird because usually I have the timer and stuff, so everything is a bit different from my usual streams, but I think we will get used to it. We wanted to talk about what we're gonna do today. We have prepared a couple topics. As everyone know, there is an update around the corner, and with that update, a lot of new stuff is coming to Rise of Kingdoms. And yeah, that's some of those parts will be topics today. We will talk about the leadership, not the leadership, the gear update, like the equipment updates, the 5 tiers. We will also talk about the new commanders getting added into the game. And we will take a short look on the Zenith city skin. And yeah, you will get some thoughts from us. You will get some inputs on what we think will get changed with that update. We will also post a bunch of screenshots from leaks from different sources, so you can get some picture material. And yeah, that's today's podcast topics. But we will also, as Leon has mentioned earlier, we will also dive into 1KVK and review what's happening there. Maybe giving some of our thoughts there. Maybe giving some ideas on what's happening on the background. Maybe Leon can also give us some inputs on stuff from that one.
I'll be calling out some kingdoms because the way they try to trick everyone else is uncalled for. So yeah.
Yeah, so that will also be part of today's podcast. But in general, what we try to do is we want to create some probably weekly content. So once a week, we want to meet, we want to talk about topics going on. We want to talk about the newest updates, tips we can give you. Basically everything that we are doing on our YouTube channels already, we want to accumulate on one source, and we will have like different hosts every week. And yeah, that way we want to create some interesting content for everyone, and we hope that works well. Maybe as a background story, like we met in Cologne, so that's basically where we first time talked about ideas like that, and afterwards we stayed a bit in contact, we chatted a bit, and we came up with the idea like every one of us is doing content separately. We are all getting along very well, so why not doing it together and delivering some more quality content for a bigger viewer base, and also sharing some perspectives, because I think that's the most interesting part from podcasts in general. And welcome everyone in the stream. Welcome everyone who wrote in the chat. Sorry we have ignored you so far. Let me see if I can also turn on the chat, because I cannot see it on the stream yet. It should be there, but it isn't. It's always when there is something new. I think now it should be turned on. So with the next message, it should show up. And I will try to pick up messages from the chat so everyone can also follow. Do you know about the dagger? We will come to that topic in a moment, and we will tell you guys what we know. And also, if you have some inputs, of course, you can let us know as well. And thanks for the subs, by the way, Matt. Okay, so let me open the pictures. The iconic equipment update. So, can you both also see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
All right, amazing.
If you can zoom it a bit, just a bit.
Yes, I will. So Lilith has announced that there will be an update for the equipment system, and basically every equipment, every legendary material equipment, which gets iconic attributes by using those iconic crystals here on the... Oh, they are not on this one, but usually they are on the left if it's not, iconic yet. They get some additional bonuses, and furthermore, they have introduced different tier levels of equipment for every legendary piece, and we wanted to take a look on what that might change to the current meta, which stats are getting added, and that's why we're here. So as you can see, that's the first weapon, the Sacred Dominion. There is like 5 different attribute levels. The first one is a base iconic one, which we know from the game itself. Nothing has changed here. The second one is already new, the enemy defense, ignored. It's probably like a defense reduction, I would say. Then you see unit capacity on that one, and damage to the field troops plus 3%, and Furious Strike. Damn, what a pun. Furious right here. And
what can I say?
yeah, he's everywhere. What's your thought on that topic, guys? Like, what do you think is the impact on the long term? What's the impact on the short term? Do we want to dive in?
Right,
do we want to show some stats first, or how you want to do it?
Yeah. First of all, I think let me just say the pros, and then we can say the cons about it. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So the first thing I noticed about the pros is that all the pieces from the set have the same iconic buffs as the ones that are not non-set, right? So for example, the chess piece from the Hellish Wasteland, from the Eternal Night, has the same buffs as the one from the non-piece. So that is a positive thing, because that way people don't have to craft new equipments just because they have better buffs.
I agree.
So I found that really, really, really good.
So, but it's applying on a specific type of troop or it's based on the actual stats that the equipment give, the iconic attributes. For example, as I can see here, I see cavalry based attack +3, and then we have the others. Based on troop type, it's different. So doesn't this mean that based on the examples we have, it won't be a bit different and imbalanced if it comes to troop type?
Potentially, yes. The subject we don't know yet is like which attributes we get on which piece. Like there is a very limited view on the buffs we actually can get, so we can't say for sure what's happening in the future. But what we can say for sure is that we might even see some weird combinations going on, cause like I could imagine that, for example, the leadership set gets a lot of new use cases in the future simply because it's versatile base stat wise. And the
Yeah.
additional iconic levels, they seem to be not locked to any troop type. Like as you already mentioned, the second, third, fourth, and fifth level is not based on any specific troop type, and you can basically use it for every troop type that is in the game. So by doing an update like this, we might see some, weird combinations, like stuff that you wouldn't play right now. Let's say, for example, you play like 5 pieces of or like what's pretty common already is like, for example, on the infantry set, you play the legendary leadership stuff. But I could imagine if there is like different iconic tier level attributes on different sets, you could also get some more combinations in terms of, for example, in certain circumstances with certain commanders, it would be better to apply any level 5 buff from a different troop type simply because it's cooperating better with the commander itself, if that makes sense. Like we don't know enough yet to say that for sure, but there might be cases in which we see weird combinations coming up. The
Yeah,
level
the moment
upgrades.
the moment the update comes in, we're gonna see many people doing guides, and
Yes.
uh, this will take time because getting it to a rank 5 is gonna take a lot of time, and
Years.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure even if Krakens have the potential of doing
No.
that in a short amount of time, but I fear for the future based on this because I think it is possible that it's gonna break the balance more or less in the longer term. As you mentioned before, I think you said that it's gonna make the difference between old accounts and younger accounts a lot bigger than they should be.
Exactly, and yeah, your fear is potentially right. Like Krakens definitely will have like an advantage over the regular players simply because they will sit on gems, blueprints, and materials to start crafting right away. But I don't want to pick up the stuff Furious posted earlier. We will come to that in a few minutes
Yeah.
already. But yeah, I think there is some stuff that Lilith did to prevent that from happening, at least for the full sets and for the full gear. Let's see what's asked in the chat. Yeah, it will be level-wise upgrades. Like there will be 5 levels of equipment, as you can see on the screenshot already. So that's the regular iconic ones that you know already, and those 4 levels are new, and they will require blueprints as well as materials for each level. I think there were already some pictures on how much. You can already see it on some of the pictures we will share afterwards. But yeah, that's what it is currently. And as you can see here, Awaken level 2. Like Awaken is the update apparently. You need like a full blueprint and around 30 legendary materials and 20 million gold to get it to level 2. Dagger, please. May you want to give us some inputs on the dagger topic you meant? And we will start going to the next stuff. Or you guys have anything else to add?
You have.
Yeah. You know what else? Like, for example, about accessories, right? You can buy, for example, a ring, 1 per KVK. So it's gonna be super unbalanced towards new players who are just starting their first season of Conquest. Where, let's take, for example, Boba, for example, right? Who has played Season of Conquest for many KVKs, like 10 times. And let's say he has more blueprints than the new players. So he can get to level 5 faster than those players. And it's going to be super unfair, even more unfair than it was already. So that is like one con that I can think about. It's super bad. But like, for example, let's say you want to upgrade 5 rings and get them all to level 5. It's gonna take you 20 KVKs to do that, and that's like years. That is like 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
So the dev added the system for the long run. That's good, but also that it's super unfair towards the new players.
I disagree a bit in certain circumstances. Like what you said is everything is right. It actually benefits the longer playing people a lot. That there is no doubt about that. But usually what happens in the update is Lilith does anything that you can buy. Like there is a heavy pay to win factor. And I think this time there is not that heavy pay to win factor, at least when it comes to the accessories, because those you can actually not spend through. Those you actually have to play for KVK after KVK. So I don't think in general that's a bad thing if you say, okay, someone who's playing 5 years has an advantage over someone who's playing a year. So by default, I would say that's a good thing. But yeah, I think the time frame they set, which you already mentioned, like if we do the math later on, that's just ridiculous high, and that's like the regular player is not playing the game as long, like not long enough to reach that level. To make it short, I think that's the issue. Thanks for the subscribes, by the way. Someone is
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
mentioning the dagger. I don't know what he's trying to say with that because he
yeah,
hasn't dropped more
maybe
infos.
maybe he thinks we have a screenshot
Do you have a
of the
screenshot?
iconic
We can take the
attributes.
dagger. Maybe
No, I don't
something
have
about the
it, but
buff.
if you have it, I could add it. But what I could think about what he maybe tries to say is that the dagger might get relevance because, as you guys may know, you can also obtain the daggers from the Egg event. So there is different sources to receive certain accessories. So it might be actually a meta in which old accessories and accessories that you can access outside of the KVK windows might become relevant simply because you can obtain them multiple times during the same time frame, while you can always only get like one print per KVK from the ones you want to upgrade. So that also might be a thing.
Yeah, and I also would like to add that every kingdom at this point has at least one Kraken, or that's what my point of view is. And basically, that Kraken can also garrison at the same time, can also rally. So if a Kraken can invest and have all these attributes in order with time, uh, I don't think the regular player would need, let's just say, the amount of attributes that the equipment can give. Because as much as I can see now in this picture, the difference, the stats, the extra stats that it gives, they're not big. But at the same time, if you add every piece of equipment, it might add to the advantage. But I think this advantage is going to be seen more into the garrison and rally leaders. So I don't think people should really start screaming at Lilith for making the game more pay to win than it already is. But
I
these are
agree
just
on
my
that one.
thoughts.
I absolutely agree. I think what we are seeing here is like high level changes. Like here it's just about does Rally has maybe 5 iconics more than the other one. And that might make a slight difference if you're, for example, taking level 2 as a reference. If you have like, imagine like you have 8 pieces on level 2, that would be 8 pieces x 2.5%. So you're talking about like, it's not the highest damage in general. Like the damage itself, it's around 20%, I think, like exactly 20 if I'm not mistaken. If my math is not broken. But yeah, 20% if you have like every piece on 2. And that means if you like the unit capacity, for example, is not relevant in rallies and on the garrison. So that wouldn't
Yeah.
matter. The damage to field troops is relevant probably as a garrison, so that's not relevant for both sides. And then we don't know all the fifth effects, like level 5 skills, which are new. But yeah, I think it's hard to say yet, but I don't think it will have like a very huge impact right away. I think throughout the time you will see a difference from the people who have played and maintained their account very well and are decent spenders potentially. They will obviously make a difference on the rallies and garrisons. But I think if you're, for example, a lower spender or like a mid spender and you focus on one really good set, you can probably keep up with most of what the Krakens and whales can do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know where that's gonna be the biggest impact? For example, that unit capacity is gonna do a huge impact on Sunset Canyon and like Lost Canyon.
Yes, that's
Ah, yeah,
right.
that it can. Yeah,
And
that's right. The same way
yeah,
VIP 18 has an advantage over this VIP 17.
I agree. That's definitely right. I
true,
haven't
true.
thought
This is
about
like
it.
a mini version of VIP 18 where you can get extra troops to your setup, basically.
And also, it's like set troops. It's not saying it's X percent of what you can bring. It's like it's 1k units. You take it or leave it. And if you have like 8k units per march more, that's good. That's pretty good. I haven't thought about that. That's definitely making a difference. But yeah,
Somebody asked in the comments, does damage to field troops count as rally as well? I think it does, because
Yeah,
rally is also on the field,
yeah,
right?
rally is also on the field, but if the rally is attacking the garrison, that will not apply.
yep.
If it has an AoE damage, yeah, it will apply on the open field marches, but not on the garrison.
I mean,
Yeah,
at least
that's
from
true.
this translation, it says damage to field troops. So I would imagine the garrison deals damage to the rally, but the rally doesn't deal damage to the garrison because the garrison is not on the field, but the rally is. That's
Yeah.
how I would understand that damage factor.
Yeah, and at the same time, if it says damage to field troops, it can also mean as a counterattack. If people are swarming the rally and it has this attribute,
Yep.
it will definitely apply on the open field marches swarming the rally, but not on the garrison.
And that's
Right,
actually
there you go.
huge. That's like, imagine 3% x8 pieces, just like if every piece would have that attribute. So it would be 24% of damage towards those troops, which is ridiculous high. What is Furious Strike? I'm actually not sure if we get an explanation. I think maybe on the next screen. I will go one
I think
forward
I
maybe.
saw it on Chiscold's video, where because he got access to a private server where he could like click on each of these buffs individually and he could get the explanation. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, sure. So I managed to, like, I went to the next picture. Here you can see the first level iconic, which you already know. It's like one iconic crystal and 20 million gold to unlock it. But sadly, here is no explanation on the stuff. Another topic we need to talk about is access towards iconic crystals, because that's also an issue. Like right now, majority of players isn't even maxed out on iconic crystals for their regular sets. And yeah, I don't think every player has access to that right away as well, unless they make them more accessible. It will be hard for people to actually maintain getting all those iconic crystals in time, because they, for example, when you enter SOC, the first SOC, I think you get only paired with new SOC kingdoms and not the old ones, but afterwards you're facing people who have like fully equipped iconic crystals, and that's, I think, where the account age gap hits the most, because that's base stats and that's basically the biggest impact you can have on your marches stats wise.
Well, where can you get the iconics? Is it from, you can get it from Lost Canyon shop
For
when you enter
example, from
KBK?
the Lost Canyon
Yeah.
shop, you get one
You
from
can get from achievements?
the Crystal
Uh,
Quest, the achievements. You can also
yeah.
get one for kills. I think two. I think there is like 2 levels on which you get iconics for kills. And there should be also one iconic based on 60k honor or something like this. And
So it's like for free to play and pay to win, it's the same. You can get the same amount of iconics.
exactly, you can't buy them. That's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
So it's like a benefit for people who maintain their accounts throughout activity, and you can't buy an advantage right there. So you need to play, even if you're like a Kraken and you're going hard and you cash, for example, if you're a new Kraken starting to do the first SOC, you can't cash through that equipment update simply because you're blocked by the iconic crystals, you're blocked by the amount of blueprints you can get, etc., etc. Struggling for iconics before the changes. Yeah, same. Like, I'm struggling too. I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm close to 40 iconics, so my sets are nearly maxed out, but I think that's an exception. I don't think many people have that Luxus problem already. I mean, most people are still working on their 5 or like less legendary sets by now, so yeah, the gap is just... I don't think it will have the hugest impact, to be honest. Like, that's just for people. We are talking about a whale who has 5 marches or 7 marches, all legendary equipped, all critted, whatever. And then you're talking about, okay, does he have like 5% more on this march first or on this? And in the end, it's not a big deal breaker, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not. At the same time as kingdoms are relying for the VIP 17 and 18, in this case it will be the same thing. So basically, I don't think people are going to be happy if someone with a garrison or a rally is going to start it up if he does not have VIP 17. So it applies the same thing. I don't think those below VIP 16 should put their focus on this at first. They have other priorities to
Absolutely.
focus on.
Also, maybe an interesting topic for the next podcast is, and maybe some of the viewers can also say something about it. Would it be interesting to actually try to make some math on whether it's worth to go for a second level iconic tier, or is it worth to go for like a second set, or is it worth to go for a crit? Because I think you could answer most of those questions mathematically. And I think it's also giving people some sort of advice on what should they work on first. Should they go for the second set? Should they go for upgrading a set, or like a mix of upgrading a set and going for iconic tiers? I think that's actually a pretty interesting topic. I'm
Yeah,
stacked. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
Yeah, but it is an interesting topic, but I don't think we have enough information to actually make a decision over this.
No, not
Since
yet. I think we can do that in the future after the update. Like
yeah, in the
once the
future, of
update is
course.
live, that could be an interesting topic.
Yeah, that can be done in the
Hey,
future, but
guys,
not at the moment. We have to see
I
how it applies.
Furious?
believe I found the description for Furious Strike. So, Sanders, I sent you the picture. I don't know if you can show it on the podcast, but basically it says whenever the wielder's troop launches a basic attack or a normal attack, it has a 10% chance to gain 6.5% damage boost for 2 seconds. Damage boost is huge. 6.5% damage boost for 2 seconds, and the cooldown 5 seconds. That is what Furious Strike is. Did you put the picture on the screen?
Yes, I'm on it. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Screen.
You said for every basic attack.
For every basic attack, you have a 10% chance to get damage boost by 6.5%.
Okay, so let me see.
It's like a mini ring, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's not working this way, but wait, I will just open a second. Where is it? 1.21. Open with. And here we go. So that's Furious Strike, his very own, including Chisco's head. Furious Strike, whenever the wielder's troops launch the basic attack, it has a 10% to gain 6. I mean, it's not too crazy, I would say. It has a cooldown of 5 seconds. And
Does it stack?
That's a question. We don't know that yet. If it stacks, it might be better, but by math-wise, that's like 0.65% all damage boost. That's not too crazy. Even less because there is a cooldown. So, yeah, it's not too huge. That's, by the way, an interesting point on the chat. I'm stacked up on iconic crystals, but that's because I don't have the equip to use them. That's also a point. I think for the regular players, especially on your accounts, that's a huge problem because you can't do everything at the same time. You have to set your focus. Either you go for certain commanders or gear or armaments, but like if you're not a high spender, you have to compromise on anything. I stopped trying to crit pieces and just making pieces for all of my field marches. I think that's a pretty good approach, Fix. I did the same. I went for like one garrison and then I went for like my field. Like then I worked on all marches, have everything legendary, and then I started critting again. And
Yeah, my image is gone, seen it.
Yes, second. No, it's back. It was because I forgot to tap back from the scene.
That's fine.
Okay, you're back again. Thanks for mentioning Romano. Is a Furious Strike will stack with each other? Yeah, we don't know that yet. That's something we definitely will test once we are getting there. Shut-in gaming. That's why you didn't get the 200 million kills last KVK. Yeah, right. Definitely. Furious Strike is basically a mini version of the ring. I agree. That's looking very similar. So yeah, I was looking for the dagger,
You know,
still not seen. Yeah, I think it's not known yet, bro. I think it's not known yet.
I couldn't find the dagger description. If you guys have it, you can just send it to either of us on Discord, and we will discuss about it. Sure.
Yeah, sure. That works. So we will go to the next one, which
Yeah.
is the Helmet of the Conqueror. I will scroll into the attributes since we all know how it looks, right? So we start with infantry base, infantry health, which is great, unit capacity, but less. You see at this one it's only 650 and not 1k anymore. Again, damage to field troops, which is apparently, wait, how much was it on the last one? 3, and here it's only 1.5. I mean, it's still good, but only the half in terms of percents. And the coasts are probably the same, I would say. So it's even relevant in which order you start upgrading your stuff. So it might make sense to upgrade some items before you upgrade other ones if you're planning to do so. Shattering Strike. Whenever the wielder's troops launch the basic attack, it has a 10% chance to increase the next skill damage it deals by 6.5%. That's also good, but that also adds a big question mark considering the smite damage that we got introduced lately. It's not applying on smite damage, so you even have to figure out if there is like different level 5 skills, which I assume there will be. Then you also have to figure out that you have the fitting equipment for your commander, so you potentially have to redo your equipment. And our first statement in the beginning isn't entirely right, because for example on Gorgo you wouldn't like the Helm of the Conqueror, but the regular Infel might has a different stats bonus, right?
Yeah, it might. I find it weird, even though this the iconic number 5 is based on basic attack. I was thinking that it would be good on Liu Che, but Liu Che is dealing smite damage, so I don't think skill damage is going to be worth it. Because in my case, I don't like combining CPO with Liu Che. CPO is only good with one at the moment, in my eyes.
I wouldn't say he's bad, but yeah, he's not ideal. Let's say like
Yeah,
this.
it's not ideal. That's the best word for it.
I think it's gonna be good on like Henry or like rally commanders.
Yep.
Like it's gonna have a huge impact.
Yep. Or if we see any new high skill damage garrisons like Flavius basically in the beginning when he got introduced. So at commanders like this would make sense. But for example, I wouldn't go for like a level 5 upgrade on a field march just to get a bit more skill damage. Like that's simply not worth it.
Yeah,
because you will waste around 100 legendary materials and I think 4 blueprints. Maybe what I could think of, by the way, is I think we got a lot of blueprints from the very old equipment by now, like the Hope Cloak, for example, the infantry chest. And the old equipment might get value. Sorry, what?
Yeah, sorry, I interrupt you, but I said, like, Hope Cloak, Milky Way, Navar's Control, Ash of the Down. Like, these are equipments you can get from the Crystal Keys, so be stacked on them.
That's right. So that might be actually a way to go if you got materials and you're lacking the blueprints. That should be the way to go. This update, each equipment will have +3 base stats. In this case, tier 4 will... yes, but the base stats are already here. The base stats are not a difference. Like the base stats have been here before the update. That's already the case since over a year. But all the 4 new levels are newly introduced, like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th tier. That's already in the game if you apply your iconic crystal. And no, we haven't seen City Hall level 30 yet.
Yeah, I'm in love with
her. I hope not.
That's why I have her on my side.
Yeah, he has Leo right next to him. Okay.
But you know, like CTR level 30 means like tier 6 troops, which I hope never happens because that's gonna be like
Well, at
the
the
next
moment,
level.
yeah, I agree with you. At the moment, the company needs to focus on improving the map that they're working on with animations and all that, well, all the stuff that
Yeah, and
comes
this
with
is
it.
not Clash of Clans, you know, so
You know, I wouldn't mind
be
to
a good
see
return.
tier 6, but then I think the crystal tag should be gone. Like, I would rather see a very hard to get permanent tag that you're working on than having to redo your seasonal tag every time. Maybe also anything that you can't purchase, like what you have to play for. Like, for example, you have to obtain a certain item just to upgrade your tech level or your city hall level, so you can't rush it through, but you need a like combination of activity in terms of, for example, kills, as we know for the iconics. And on this way, you can upgrade your buildings further. You can upgrade your tech, etc. And I mean, if they add some bundles, I guess there is no harm. They want to earn some money, so that's totally fine. But I think like that would be a cool option to the KVK tag, and I would rather see the KVK tag than that.
Yeah, but you know, where's the huge problem? It's like, let's take KVK1 for example. If right now the like T5 can somehow survive against T5, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they add T6, then some is gonna just add his way up to the C6 by money, and then boom, KVK1 is just officially over for T4 players, and it's gonna be extremely unbalanced. It just means that T4 is basically gonna be dead. That's what it means for T4 troops. But yeah,
I
I don't know.
mean, you can actually prevent that if you, for example, have stuff like iconic crystals in place for building and research upgrades, which limits the amount in which you can rush attack. So it's not only the resources and the speed ups, but also any other items that you have to play for in order to get it. So older accounts in older matchups can get those items and compete on the highest level still, while the younger can't have it. And for example, you could still say, okay, the new tier unlocks or like everything above level 25 is not available until you are reaching KVK 4. So even if you migrate backwards, you don't have those boosts. So that would have two positive effects. People wouldn't migrate backwards to kill chase on the younger accounts, because once you're like level 30, you probably want to play on level 30 KVKs. And on the other side, you don't have this temporary tax that you have to purchase every KVK, and you are investing into something that remains on your account. I always feel bad when I buy the KVK bundles because I know they are gone in like, 60 days, but you kind of have to if you want to play. And I
Yeah.
don't know, like I'm less hesitant when I have to buy something that stays and remains permanent on my account, but that's just my point of view.
Yeah, I agree with you. The company in the future needs to find ways of how to sustain itself rather than relying on whales and krakens to keep pumping money in the company. But at the same time, if you're active enough, you can reach the amount of research for the crystals, but it's not going to be on the level of when you can rally or garrison. So
I
the
agree.
people who rally or garrison, they definitely have to max out the crystal tech as soon as possible. So yeah, if you look at the kingdom 1960, I think that's the richest kingdom in the game, and the amount of money they put in the game, it's astronomical. I cannot imagine it. And at the same time, I see that Lilith is basically blocking players from going back to KVK2, just to not let people run away from the crystal tech. Because in the past, I can say that I tried going back to KVK2 and it's difficult. It's difficult. Even though the kingdom has the maximum power 65, like in 1 minute, everything is full.
Yep.
Less than 1 minute actually. It's full. You cannot you can basically you cannot go back to KVK2. It's over.
Yep. Absolutely, you're right.
So I think
Yeah.
it has to do with Crystal Tech, and I think in the future people Ali, the company needs to rethink how the Crystal Tech works. They need to find ways on how to not make people quit or leave. At this point, the game is healthy. I can see that it's healthy. It has a large community that has that brings money to the company, but it's not sustainable for the long run. So the company has to think well what the plans for the future are. And this iconic attributes that they're adding in, it's not a impactful thing right now, but in the future, I believe it might have something to do.
It will
So
definitely backfire at any point, like not in one
yeah,
year, but if you're, for example, if they would have implemented that 5 years ago, and let's say I would have had to work on my equipment for 5 years, then my account would look way different from what it is right now.
true.
So like
Yeah,
I had no gear, like there was no gear when I started, there were no iconics. But if I would have had 5 years to grind all that shit, and my account would be way more stacked than it is, and like 5 years is apparently a playtime. A lot of players are playing this game. Like I think the average playtime in this game is insanely high. I don't think there is many games that can compete with that.
yeah,
So there is definitely potential that a lot of players keep playing it, and at any point they will be superior towards others, which is an issue, as you mentioned. Romano has, by the way, mentioned a pretty interesting fact. Going backwards to KVK2 is now actually harming your account, right? Because you are not gaining iconic crystals anymore. You're not getting access to the blueprints anymore.
yeah,
And
that's true.
I think that's actually not really interesting for accounts to go back over and over again.
Yeah, but the main reason people go back is just to destroy younger accounts. That's
Yeah.
the only reason they go back. It's not like they going back. Yeah, I want to experience again KVK2. I want to see how it was. I want to remember it, even though it's different from when they started. That's the only reason behind it. So I think in a way it's good that people are not migrating back to KVK2. That at the same time, I don't know. It's a lot to discuss about it, and I don't think it's a subject for this point.
I agree. So should I go to the next screen? I guess I can, right?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here we have the armband of the hellish wasteland. Let's scroll into the attributes. We have the cavalry base attack, as we know, the cavalry defense, one person, which is not a lot considering how much you invest. Unit capacity plus 300,
Not
which
invest in
is
this piece, guys.
that's not good. Like, don't go for it right away.
Yeah, just skip this piece.
There is another 0.5 unit capacity, so the third and the fourth march aren't even relevant for garrisons or rallies. And the fifth skill, Perplexing Ploy. Whenever the wielders troops deals skill damage or smite damage, it has a 10% chance to reduce the target's march speed by 3% for 3 seconds. So again, no rally skills. So here, everything you can get is base stats and 1% death on that piece for garrison matters. So everything below is just for field, pure field, which is quite
Yeah, you know what's
interesting.
interesting? It says in the description, this is a calf piece, right? And if you look at Navarre's control, it has the same buffs. So it says, if you read the tier 5 description, it says skill damage or smite damage on a calf equipment piece. So this means we could potentially get a smite damaging commander for the next calf generation, That could be a huge hint for the future.
You can get your Attilas ready probably. Like that would be probably an amazing pairing. A new smite damage conquering commander with Attila. Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a strong one.
That
Really
gonna add
deep.
up.
I fear the day Attila can be used again as a meta cavalry.
Probably. I mean, I'm quite surprised. Like I have anticipated that we will see one smite commander after another coming out. But yeah, that's not the case. Like the upcoming archers aren't really smite damage commanders. They are going back to skill damage and even bring back the Tommy debuffs, which is quite interesting to see a new commander with those talents. But yeah, I'm really curious how this will play out. You might be right. We might see a new Kafgan very soon.
Well, I hope not. I want only, if infantry want to be smite damage, just fine. Because a smite can be only exclusive to infantry. I wanted, like, archers and cavalry to only stay as a skill damage. You know what I mean? I don't know, Lilith could branch out and potentially give it to cavalry, and then maybe for the next gen of archers, give it to archers. We'll see. But the next cycle is going to be leadership, I believe, right? And then we're going to have the new cav.
Yep. That's right. That's right. So let's go to the next one. That's
But
what we
if you,
talked about earlier, by the way, when we kind of picked that topic up early on.
yeah,
Ring of Doom and Horn of Fury, base health, troop health, unit capacity, damage to rallies and garrisons, which is exclusive to rally leaders usually, or I mean even also to swarming marches. That would be interesting, I guess. Well, it is interesting, but the issue here is like you can get one blueprint per KVK from each different item. So in order to get there, how many blueprints do we need? Was it 4? I think it was 4 blueprints, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So 1 for each level. So that means 4 more blueprints plus you need to crit your items as a rally leader. So if you want to go up on one march, you will need around 5 to 6, if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, blueprints of 1 KVK accessory, which is a problem because you can only obtain 1 item per KVK. A KVK is like 60 days plus off season, etc., etc. So you can say, let's say three blueprints per year, 4 blueprints if you're like in a kingdom that plays KVK non-stop without long skips. So you can get 4 blueprints in a year, so you have 1 march stacked up. But if you're doing that, if you decide to, I want to equip 1 march to the maximum, that means automatically all your 4 other marches suffer not having those blueprints available. That's like an issue, especially for newer players. Like that's the gap that I've mentioned earlier. Like young accounts will have a problem to catch up once they hit SOC simply because they can't. Especially rally and garrison wise, you will never catch up with an old account at this pace, because there will be always, if an account already has like 2 years SOC behind him and he already has 7 blueprints of the ring, you will never be able to catch up those 7 blueprints ahead of you.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult.
And I'm wondering how they want to solve it. Like I don't see a way unless they want to make those blueprints not exclusive to KVK anymore, or they make them cheaper and give us more opportunities to get them. That's
that's for the company to see. Even though they tend to listen to their community, we have to see with that, because they're kind of unpredictable at this point since they skipped the new leadership commanders that are supposed to be in place of archers. At this point, you don't know what to expect. So,
I mean, they did this last time, right? Who was the last leadership?
Hera.
They did that, like they skipped leadership, and then they just went with the archers.
Did they? No, they introduced Hera, right? Didn't they? They added the new range stuff before. It's the second skip of leadership.
Yeah, it was Hera, but I think they skipped it first, and then it came after archers. Or am I wrong? No, it was like that.
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I'm not sure on that matter, so I can't comment on it. But yeah, that will be definitely.
I think Hera came after Zhuge.
Yeah, the chat is saying the same.
I think Hera came after Zhuge.
The chat is claiming the same, so I guess you're right. But the range stuff got added where it should be leadership. Maybe the range stuff just replaced leadership cycle in this specific case. Non-stop KVK register for blueprints. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I mean, we won't do it this time because we want holidays in 903, so family time, Christmas. But I guess afterwards you gotta have to grind hard KVK after KVK, no stop.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna move to the next subject.
Yes, let's go. So the Smithy specials, which look quite interesting. Do we actually know where we can get those hammers from? Because I guess that's cool. Like we can
event. Yes, we do.
Yeah, and I also believe it's gonna be a bundle with it. Of course.
I,
The
I
same way
had
you
the
have with
feeling too,
hammers.
but that's cool. I mean, is
In
that
the video, I saw, yeah,
so? What I
you
believe
could get it
is,
from 7K gem event, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a 7K gem event.
And yeah, and also like by killing barbarians, buying stuff from the Esmeralda shop, rallying forts, resources.
I like that idea. I hope that's like a second permanent shop, like the mysterious merchant kinda. But, here is a timer. Discount ends in 59 days. So I don't really get what that means. It says discount ends. It not says the Smithy special ends. It just says the discount ends. So probably at any point those things won't
Seen
be
it? Can you zoom on it?
Yes? Hello?
Yeah, can you please zoom on it on the picture? Because
Yes.
crazy, some people say they cannot see it.
Is it better now? Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, so you can use resources and gems.
Yeah.
Yeah, with 50%. Ah, no, hammers.
The gems is
Resources and
for
hammers.
refreshing, and you need those specific hammers in order to unlock the blueprints. So the blueprint is probably the, let's say, interesting part of that thing. I mean, the equipments for resources, great, no objections, very needed. But this will be interesting on how we can get those items. If it's through, playing events and stuff, and this reoccurs and helps us to get some extra blueprints here and there, that's a great idea. But I'm a bit afraid that this will be another pay to win, pit where we have to spend to play that event actually. It's like we have no
Yeah, of course,
details yet.
you have to pay gems to, I think it's like the hammer event, the normal hammer event. You can buy some amount with gems, and then the rest you can get from barbarians, just normal activities.
That would be cool, regardless. I think that's a good idea. I think we really need more events activity wise in order to catch up with the kind of power creeps they implemented with those new features. So they need to give us ways to reach that goal first faster, because otherwise there will be years until anyone actually maxes that stuff. People already rooting
Yep.
for gold chests. Yeah, let's go, guys. So I think that's pretty much it for the equipment stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess we wrapped it up with the equipment.
I guess
Yeah.
the rest, like for example, what I would like to do is on the next episode after the update, I would like to talk about what we would advise on, in which order should people approach the equipment, in which order should they upgrade iconics, upgrade equipment, or craft new equipment, and based on that, we could give some advices on what we think is relevant for which type of player. That would make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay, so then we finish that topic and we move to the next topic, the gossip we mentioned earlier. There is a kingdom mail from 42. Maybe you want to take over, Leon Legend.
Yeah, it's from 2142 from El Rey
Okay, let
Chorizo.
me get my popcorn. Wait, please.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Popcorn and my Coca-Cola
Yeah.
with ice.
You were in 2381 and I was in 2142, and you remember the drama we had before, right, Furious?
Oof, spicy
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah, spice. Everyone was on Facebook was on fire, so I think this case is gonna be similar. The only difference is it happens in pre-KVK. So what really happened is today I woke up to this email stating, basically at first I saw the Facebook post, and then I went to Discord to ask what's going on, and then the King of 2142 posted this email. And basically he's saying is, yesterday 27-28 left our three camp coalition. Initially it was decided by the diplomacy team it's going to be a 3v3, and the KVK has 6 camps, it's Storm of Stratagems, and the camps are formed from A and B seeds. So basically the calculations were done, and more or less the kill points and the power was more or less equal. But I think it was the best decision they made. And later on, when we are in day 4 of pre-KVK, and that's training, even though we trained a lot, we prepared for the war, suddenly 2728 changes faces. So basically the email says, yesterday 2728 left our camp coalition. They wanted to rework allies and start over after enemy camps convinced them they would get no fight. So basically our enemies said they're not gonna fight because it's unfair, even though the calculations were done. And 2010 and 2142 voted not to rework allies and stick with the current setup. And the 4 camps now, our enemies, claim that 2010 and 2142 can basically face the 4 camps. But we have a screenshot of the power creep, and Sinet is going to show it later on once I finish with this email. It says, we spoke with 1316 and offered swapping 2728 for another camp, or going to 2v3 v1. However, 1316 chose to take 2728 into their coalition and make this KVK 2v4. Like, what is this? I have received confirmation that Code Me Down, that's the king from 2061, if I'm not mistaken, from 2061, and Baby Shark from 2313 are also in favor of 2v4. We had a good matchup and potential for Zone 5 fights for all kingdoms. However, 2728 leadership chose to talk and listen to the enemy camps instead of us and ruined it. 2010 has now announced they will not fight and have a farming KVK. 2142 will now do the same and there will be a dead KVK. Seriously, guys? And at this point, I blame 2728 because they agreed initially on the point of the allies and enemies, and then they switched their allies. And Sinit, if you will, can you show the screenshot
sure.
I sent you about the power, the difference in power in and kill points? Because at this point,
I will wait.
this is the screenshot I received. As you can see, the new setup of the allies and enemies. We have water and fire with 4 kingdoms, and then we have 4 kingdoms have to face 8 kingdoms. As you can see, the difference in power is 21 billion, and the KP difference is 1.1 trillion. How can you call this fair?
It's not.
So
I have to say, the KP difference is actually crazy. It's 1 billion difference.
It's astronomical.
It's crazy.
And they say we have a chance against them. It's unfair.
Yeah, I really don't get that matchup, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I mean, many kingdoms have many different point of views, and it's hard to call out, like, one person and saying, like, or like one kingdom and saying, like, they are the boomers and they screwed us over. But I don't know. Like, I don't understand how any kingdom would want a matchup like this, because even if you guys would decide to fight, it wouldn't probably last too long. It would be very much a steamroll into one side. And I don't understand what makes you think I want to spend my time, money, etc. into a KVK like this. Like, what's the point of playing the game if you just want to go for free wins? Like, you can rather play Farmville and then you're following the purpose of the game. But having a setup like a matchup like this, just based on the numbers, it's like insane. Besides the power and like the troop difference and the KP difference, you also have like the account coverage difference. Like 8 kingdoms will definitely have more players than those 4. It's like a ridiculous matchup. And to claim you guys have a chance and you should fight is kind of bold. Like, I get why you want to pull out, and I think that might be the right way, or like maybe everyone could get to the table again to rediscuss that matter.
Yeah, but even though if everyone gets back to the table and rediscuss it, I believe the leadership of 2142 kind of lost the trust in the 2728 camp, because there is the possibility there is high of them betraying their own allies. So
Yeah.
what's the point? It's a good thing that it happened in the pre-KVK, so nobody invested in Crystal Tech. But now everyone is confused and they don't know what to do. So now we're actually going into this KVK, farming, doing nothing, saving up for the next KVK. Hopefully we're gonna have a nice one. Even though we we tried to register for Warriors Unbound, but we got a no matchup. So now we have to wait again, and this time 2 months until we can register again. It's something that I'm not sure Lilith can fix, but it has to do with the leadership of the kingdoms, and I'm really not happy with the situation we have now. Because we want to have a good time, we want to fight, we want to lose troops, we want to lose power, but at this point, it's frustrating, and we don't know what to do.
I can imagine. Like, I think there is not much you can do. The problem is it's nothing you have impact on. And as you mentioned, it's like a leadership decision. So there is barely anything Lilith could do about matchups like this. I think the only thing I could think of is something like we know from, for example, the Nile KVK or former KVK3, where you could arrange allies before you actually get to fight. And I think it would be great if you could arrange enemies and allies before you get to fight. And they should give us any platform where you could communicate. So kind of you could set up matchups between kingdoms that are quite equal, because let's be honest, Lilith isn't able to do good matchups since 5 years. So I lost trust that they will be able to do that in the future. And yeah, I think that would be easier, so they could outsource this problem and kingdoms could manage their own KVK, set up the difficulty, and everyone is, aware of what's happening before. Oh, I already see this. The chat is kind of roasting
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
kingdoms right
true.
now. Apparently, that's not the first time for some of them. 20,
2010 and 2142 were up to renegotiate the allies, so it can be 3v3. But the other kingdoms offered us 1316, I believe, since I read it correctly on the email. But 1316, they don't want that. They want 2v4.
That's quite
So
interesting because they are supposed to be a very strong kingdom in that matchup. I think the strongest, at least out of the KP shard. Like the alliance with the highest KP is from 1316.
yeah, well, I don't know what what decision the leadership is gonna take at this point. But everyone is pissed off, and it's not gonna be a good KVK at this point if we go into fighting or just for the sake of losing power, and because since we powered so much during the pre-KVK, I think we're going again into Imperium seed, but I hope it's not gonna happen. So yeah,
Fingers
I'm
crossed.
calling out the entire enemy camp from Wind, Daybreak, Greenwood, and Earth, because they failed to take a decision on making a fair KVK. This led to a ruined matchup, and hundreds, if not more than 1,000 players are suffering from this because the leadership of those kingdoms failed to take the decision and failing their own members. So basically, 2 months wasted. Here we go. I'm pissed off. I cannot say more than this.
Legend Leon on fire is what chat says, and I agree. But I'm 100% with you on that matter, man. Like it's frustrating. Like a lot of people now suffer boredom, but I think the best you can do is what Fix says: get the enemy camp to backstab each other. I think there is not much you can do. I think the only thing you can do is basically not go out right now, and they will create some drama internally. Like who's taking the stars? Are they going to fight each other on their own? Like maybe you can pick in at any part later on, but I don't think there is anything else you can get from that KVK.
Yeah,
They
whatever
got
happens, the KVK is gonna be dark, and
yes,
it's gonna be dark for them and not for us.
yeah, it's boring. Like you can let them build in and just kill their
You
farmers or
said
whatever.
it's 3 KVK, right?
Can you repeat that, Furious?
You said it's still in the pre-KVK phase, right?
Yeah, we're in the fourth day of pre-KVK.
Right. So you have 2 more days, like for the diplomacy to change their decision, right? But like you said, your kingdom has lost the trust in this diplomacy. But again, if they can fix that and make it back to 3 versus 3, that would be awesome. So like you said, hundreds of players do not suffer the bad decision of leadership. If they can do that and they can like give you assurances that they don't betray you in the KVK and make it again 2 versus 4, that would be cool. But if not, then yeah, like the best solution is I would do the same because that's not fair. And why would I kill and waste my troops for nothing? I'm not
Yep.
gonna get any rewards from it, and basically gonna be caged the whole KVK.
Yeah, I
So
just
that's
want to
like
make
perspective on it.
yeah, I just want to make my point that I'm speaking from the point of view of a fighter. I don't speak from the point of view of leadership because they might have a different opinion uh, than mine. So, but this is how the regular fighter of 2142 feels. It's it's uh,
It's
it's
disgusting.
it's painful. That's what I'm trying to say. It's painful because it's gonna be boring if we will not fight. We've been waiting for a long time to fight. We have power, we have the commanders, but nothing's gonna happen at this point. But we have to see in the coming days if anything's gonna be done or not.
Yeah,
So there
right.
we
Yeah. How
go.
many Imperiums do you have?
What?
How many Imperiums do you have?
How many Imperiums?
I
We
think.
don't have
Yeah.
Imperiums, it's only A and B seeds.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. I thought there was like at
But
least
I'm
one or
not
two
sure.
Imperiums,
I'm
like
not sure if we already went, if a kingdom went into Imperium after powering up, because I did not check that. But before we were A and Bs.
Fix made a point. We should invite their kings to this podcast. So I think, yeah, that's funny as well. That's an invite. If not, we can keep roasting them. That's also fine.
Well, maybe we can make a subject for the next stream if the kings are willing to come, but we'll see.
I
Sure.
I
mean, I
don't
would
think
love
it's
to
a
get
time
their
for
point
now.
of view.
I would like to
Yeah,
hear it.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting to me what makes people think that would be a good idea to put the whole kingdom into boredom. Like I would rather lose a KVK than playing that KVK from the 4 camp side. That's my point of view. As someone who had basically this decision last KVK and we decided to go for the uphill battle, even though we were kind of teabagged in the KVK before, and we were all drained, but we still picked the uphill battle. And yeah, I guess that's, in my opinion, always the right decision. But yeah, people may see it different. Some people like easy KVKs, but that's kind of unfortunate because I think this matchup, if you would switch one of the parties, it would be quite equal.
yeah. Okay, I think we're done with the drama. Can we move on to the archers now, or do we have something else to add?
Yeah, I think we can continue with the topics. What else could we pick on? We could pick on the city theme, the new one.
Yeah,
For those
that's
that haven't noticed yet, it's the infantry health plus 15% city theme. I'm not sure if I like how it looks. Like, the looks aren't that great, I would say. But that's
I
just
guess.
my impression. I think it's not looking too cool. But the stats are
I
amazing.
think it looks cool.
I
I think it
also
looks
think it looks
beautiful. I don't
good.
know. Like it looks like a candy. You wanna eat it. Am I wrong? Just
Yeah, a bit. Like, there is, during Christmas, like, there is those chocolate houses. I don't know the exact English term. I think they have, like, a special word for it. And yeah, that's exactly how it's looking. The chat says it's a bit cartoony, which is a good description, I would say. But yeah, the stats are amazing. Like, I would like to get it. Also, the avatar frame looks quite cool on the picture here. I mean, we can't see
Yeah,
it
I
yet.
agree with that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm really curious. I think we should get our Cologne avatar frames next week, right?
I think 5 more days. Yeah, next week basically we can get it.
Amazing.
But if you don't like the looks, you can change the looks. I think by the new feature, it's called what it was transmog feature.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's.
transmog.
Yeah, there we go.
Have you seen the details on it? I haven't prepared screenshots yet because I think that's not the most relevant topic. But you need a city with the wrong attributes than the theme you want to transmog. I'm not sure if it's just infantry health, for example, or if you need another
I think
15% infantry health one. That would be fucked up.
yeah, I think
I
it needs to be the same tier, like legendary to legendary, and it has to have the same attributes, like infantry to infantry, right?
Yeah, but
yeah, but
that's honestly that's bad. Like, why would you do that? Just give people the freedom of like choose the theme you want to play, looks wise, and use the stats you want to use. Like, what's the idea behind that? I really don't get that. I want to throw this candy in the trash. Yeah, that's
About this topic, I have a question. Even if you get a 30-day skin, can you actually transmog that into a
no,
permanent
you
one?
can't.
Let's just
You
say.
can't. You can only use it for like 30 days. It says you can only transmog permanent skins.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does. It does. For all the fashion hunters out there, that's sad news.
Yeah, true.
Just needed to be infantry. You want to show the Snow Queen theme. Yeah, the Snow Queen theme is a pretty accurate name for it. So now, last but not least, we are going through the two new commanders. You can see Herman here. He's looking quite epic, I have to say.
Yeah, he's looking good.
He's looking majestic, not compared to the regular Herman we know. So, target type AoE. So it's an AoE commander. Direct damage up to 3 enemy troops in a fan. 2k damage on the max level. The usual minus 15% per target. Troops hit by this damage are inflicted with 2 stacks of poison for 10 seconds. The poison effect can stack up to 15 times. And its duration resets whenever it gains another stack. Wait, what? Troops hit by this damage are inflicted with 2 stacks of poison for 10 seconds. The poison effect can stack up to 15 times and its duration resets whenever it gains another stack of this
Yeah,
attack
so
for each stack.
yeah, so at this point, the poison stacks are applied only by skill damage, while Tomiris is applied by basic attack. So we will see if the next skills also apply more stacks on Herman.
That would be interesting also if they both stack up and clear it with the skills. That would be insane. Because then you
Yeah,
usually double
break
your
the
stacks
game.
in the same time. And I think that might be a new pairing, especially with Museum.
Yep.
I'm curious for that. And chat. No, we are not all from 903 if you tuned in later. They are from 1365 and 2142 if I'm not mistaken. I hope I didn't confuse the kingdom numbers because I'm not that good at them. So let's go to the next skill, I guess, right? This
Yeah.
commander archers units gain 20% attack, 20% defense, and 15% march speed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the march speed is quite high for archers. Aren't they usually 10 beside Edward?
Yeah, and if you add Tomiris march speed from the museum, this march is gonna be pretty fast.
Fast
But
as fuck,
in
boy.
terms of stats, of war stats, they're not that great.
Boudica is 10%, right? Not 15.
Who?
Boudica.
Yeah, I think Boudica was slower. I don't have my game open right now, so I can't answer that right away. But I think she was definitely slower. Not a 15%
Yeah,
one.
she's 10. So Herman is definitely the highest march speed. Aside from the banana boy, what's his name? Edward? Yeah. So like as for pairing, I would just say right from the bat, I would say Herman primary with Juge secondary, not considering the Tommy that are poison stacks, but just for the best pairing, if I wanna just guess, I would say Herman with Juge would be the best pair for open field. What do you guys think?
Probably I would agree. I haven't seen like all the skills yet. I don't have some on my memory, but I would say based on what I have on my memory, Zuge is a way to go behind him. Yep. That would just make sense. Your debuff, Tommy's debuff is great. Like you're still using it, just not on the field. But you know, if you're like targeting rallies, if you're swarming, you could use it technically. It's a really good auxiliary skill, especially during Orleans. It's getting a lot of use. And I think just having a new commander with the needed punch that Tommy is missing will be great. So I'm pretty sure he will replace the current meta marches, and I think with Zuge it will be the way to go. Simply because of the AoE. I think the debuff is also AoE from how it's reading itself. Like it's AoE, so probably it inflicts to every target a stack. And then Zuge is
Yes.
coming afterwards with the skill damage, and boom. That should work. The chat made some comments on it, how it should work. From what Sewell said, it worked a bit differently. Tommy will clear the stacks, but it won't affect expertise. So with Tommy, Herman will have each second active cast twice, and with Tommy and each third active with AoE. Or you're relating to the third skill, I think. We will look into that in a moment and keep that on mind. The highest is Henry, that's probably for the march speed. Boudica is 10%. So, okay, let's go to the next screen. Alpha Wolf. This commander troops deal 5% more AoE skill damage when attacking other troops on the map. Whenever their troops uses an active skill while attacking another troop on the map, their current target loses 5% defense for 2 seconds. This commander archer, oh, it's like new numbers, I need to correct the numbers. This commander archer unit takes % more damage from cavalry units and deals % more damage to infantry units. Wait, this...
Yeah,
Okay, I got it. It's 20% more AoE skill damage, which is great.
yeah.
Defense reduction on whenever this target loses 20% defense reduction, which is also huge. Also great for swarming meta, especially with the high DPS and Tommy stacks. That's probably very interesting. And bonus damage to infantry, but more damage taken by cavalry. So yeah, but that's okay, I guess. A good trade-off.
Yeah, based on this skill, I think Furious was right. The best way to pair Herman is with Zhuge Liang, since it has a 20% extra AoE skill damage.
Yep.
And that's going to be great, actually, with him.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Furious.
I think you can't basically use the other commanders, because you would lose that mainly on Tommy. So Tommy would be just a pure debuffing march. Maybe for swarming, Herman Tommy will be relevant. We don't know that yet. But I could imagine simply because of the fast stacking from the both commanders adding poison stacks, if that stacks, and they can add more stacks per round. If that's the case, then it might be a thing, at least for swarming purposes, for rallies, for example, or the structures. But yeah, the AoE debuff, it kind of makes Boudica not relevant behind that commander. So I definitely say Herman plus Zhuge will be the way to go.
Yeah, it's actually a good skill.
So Mandrake Root, this commander troop takes less damage from poison troops. Okay, that's also interesting. Whenever the troop launches a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to deal extra damage to 3 enemy troops in a fan. Every additional target reduces the damage to each target by 15. Troops by this are inflicted with 2 stacks of poison. So with the fourth skill, you even add more poison stacks on top of it, which is also crazy. I think I did 2 screenshots because we couldn't see the damage factor. Yeah, right. So you do a 200% damage factor. I mean, that's not the biggest. That's pretty small. That's like 10% skill damage more increased on the initial attack. But the poison stacks are quite interesting since you don't gain the same amount of damage anymore afterwards. I'm really curious, do we know if that stacks up with Tommy or if it's overwriting each other?
There are speculations that it would, but I don't know if Tommy will clear only her stacks and is gonna keep the Herman stacks. That we'll have to see in the reports when we gonna
We
get
don't know. We have to wait for the testing. Yeah.
And the expertise says, whenever this commander's troop inflicts 25 stacks of poison on enemy troop, it triggers the Forest of Fallen Eagles skill at level 5. But what's the skill? I think I saw it somewhere.
So based on this expertise skill, the 25 stacks are gonna go away the moment it's activated again, or they're gonna stack? Ale, they're gonna stack even more.
Think what Xander is saying is right. Passive skills stack together and Tommy's active skill won't affect Herman's expertise. But we don't know that for sure yet. I think that's how it should work. But sometimes Lilith surprises us with some Easter eggs, which we figure out while testing.
It may be bugged.
Okay, so what? So you already made your call, Herman plus Zhuge. will be the way to go. What are you saying, Liam?
Saying about what? About the
What's
pairings or
the
what?
pairing, the way to go for Herman?
Yeah, I think Zhuge can go with any marcher, with any commander, even if it's primary or secondary. And I think it would work well with Herman. But at the same time, it's I'm not so keen on seeing how Herman performs in the open field because you already have Boudica, you have Henry that can be used. So I'm not sure if people are really gonna invest in him and benching Boudica or another commander. So we'll have to see how it goes because at this point we have marches and keep commanders are keeping coming, and people are saying, yeah, we have too many commanders at this point. They come too fast, and people have no time to change the meta in their own accounts. So I have mixed feelings about bringing up as fast as they did now. I basically have no no idea what to say about it. I'm actually confused about this commander and how
Well,
it works.
I mean, just things said in the chat, you can never bench Boudica, right? Like for example, let's say you're gonna use Herman with Juge, then you're just gonna use Boudica with YSG if you're running two archer pairs on the field. Well, as for me, like I only run one archer march, and I already have Boudica as 5-5-5-1. So I'm not gonna bench her. I'm just gonna keep using Boudica because I'm not archer main. So that's fine with me. I'm gonna skip Herman and wait for the new CAF commanders. But that's just me personally. Yeah, I think Herman looks very strong. So if you have the heads
Yep.
and you want a replacement for Boudica, then you can go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, but first they need to see the reports and to see if it's worth going for. Because at this point I'm using Zhuge Liang YSG and I'm pretty happy with this pair.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's pretty like it won't be a bad
Yep.
pair regardless, and I think there is a bunch of archer players that will probably start arguing. But I think they have like some pretty solid marches. I think as an archer player you can now run like 3 solid marches, and yeah, they will have a good time ahead. Like you can play Herman with Zuge, you can play for example Boudica with Artemisia, and you can run Nebu YSG. So you have like 3 very strong marches on the field. And that's not considering potential mixed matches with whatever Honda. I don't know if there is any pairings. I'm not an archer player, but I think those 3 matches for sure can do a lot of damage. So that opens up a lot of options for those players, which is honestly
Right.
great because I think archers were always a bit behind in terms of, not in terms of like open field, like very strong matches, but in terms of coverage among, having like 3 or 4 really good matches, because you could always play 3 to 4 cav or infantry marches, and if you were like main focus on one troop type, and it worked, but it never worked that good for archers in my opinion. You had to compromise too much.
Yeah, that's true. What I'm excited about is the other commander, Ashu Zarv. I don't know what the name is. It's complicated, but I'm excited for it because from what I've read, I think they can use it in the open field as well. It's like a better Nebu, a Nebu Prime, if I may say.
He also looks like Nebu Prime, at least a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
Or like Gilgamesh also. Okay, should we dive into him, or is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, before, let me just say, some people were saying that using Yuga is better than Herman as primary. I don't think so. I have to disagree because, like, support, when you have support tree, like in Herman, for example, it's always best to use support primary because you have the rejuvenate point skill and the loose formation. And these 2 skills gonna give you like a skill damage reduction and also bunch of rage so you can deal faster cycles.
I agree on that. I
Yeah.
would agree. Definitely. Besides that, it just makes sense this way because you want to start stacking up as soon as possible. And I'm not sure how this skill works. Like, I think that's the first one, but let me see. How high is the Zuge? Yeah, probably Question is, when does it clear the debuffs is also maybe interesting on this point. I haven't used Tommy in a while, so I'm not even sure how she works exactly. But for example, I think Tommy, if I'm not mistaken, cleared with the buff, with the active skill, and if it's the same here, 1 round after the active skill, then it shouldn't matter. I think. That the debuff should still apply, right? Hermann's debuff when Zuge hits.
Normally, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay, so then I agree. There is no reason to play Zuge first in this scenario then. Okay, so now we go to the guy who no one can pronounce. Let's see if the text is right on screen.
Ashur Banipal. Yeah, now I see his
Ashur
name.
Banipal.
Archer Banipal. Okay, let's dive into it. Deals direct damage up to 5 enemy troops in a fan, 1.5k, and reduces the damage to each target by 15% as always, and deals extra damage to the current target of this commander's troops by 1k. So the march you're hitting gets 2.5k skill damage, and the rest gets like a reduced AoE, which is good, I would say. That's like heavy skill damage right here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good active skill. I like it.
That's also interesting for rallies, I would say. It's also a conquering commander. And that's like 2.5k. It's like a very, very high skill damage. So that might be interesting to see how Gorgo deals with this dude.
Yeah, of course, Gorgo, I think, is going to be heavily countered by this.
I sadly feel the same. Luckily, I haven't invested into her yet. But I think the same. I think Gorgo will have a hard time ahead. So let's see what else a commander can offer. This commander's archers gain 20% attack, 20% defense, and another 15% march speed. That's quite fast. So that's definitely very nice because archers always lack march speed. They are always super slow and those cuffs are always chasing them.
I think this skill is the same as the one on Hermann, but with slight conditions.
I think it's actually the same, right?
Here it says while outside of Alliance territory, it gets defense and march speed.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it's basically the same with a small condition.
Yep, but a very strong skill for 40% stats and 15% march speed bonus. So the next skill, this commander's troops deal 20% more skill damage. Whenever that troop uses an active skill while attacking a city or a stronghold, the target deals 20% less normal damage for the next 3 seconds.
That's a skill that counters Gorgo.
Yeah, basically that's the counter for Gorgo. I was about to say that. If you have anything to add, you can interrupt me, Furious.
I'm listening. You can continue.
All right.
Yeah.
Chosen of Usher. This commander's troop takes 15% less normal damage. If this that's crazy. If this commander is leading a rally attack, whenever the rallied army deals direct damage, it has a 50% chance to gain how much percent? 3%. It says 3 for all levels. Bonus to skill damage dealt for 10 seconds. It has a 50%.
I think that's a typing problem. It's a mistake. I don't think it should be like that.
I don't think so either. It's probably like 3, 6, 12, 15 or anything like this.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's 15%, right?
Sorry,
Most
what?
likely.
Is it 15% skill damage?
It says 3, 3, 3, 3 on the picture, but I think it's supposed to be 3, 6, 9, 12. Because it
and 15 as last.
Yeah,
15.
Probably 15 as last, but that's like just speculation from my side. Or it stacks, then it might... Wait, yeah, it stacks. I was about to say I wasn't finishing the sentence yet. And its duration resets whenever it gains another stack. So it won't be 15, but it can stack. So it's like 5 stacks, it's 15%. Max stacks is 10. So you can go up to 30% in theory. That's ridiculous high. So
I think it's actually just 3%. I'm
yeah,
gonna send you a picture. You can put it on the
Yeah,
stream.
it's highly possible. Based on this description, I think it's only
yep,
3%.
you're right because it won't get higher, but the max stacks go up. So it goes from 3
Yeah,
to
yeah.
10 max stacks, and 10 stacks with each 3% is 30% on the um, as a debuff in total. So I don't think I have to add this screen, because if I do, I think we miss Leon again on the stream. Like every time I tap out of Discord,
I
No,
don't
I
think
got
they're
you. Yeah,
gonna miss me that
it's
much.
but I,
it's like the
you're
correct
right.
spot.
You're right. It's 3%, pretty sure.
Now it
That's
makes sense. Yeah.
that's definitely a crazy one. So let's go to the expertise. Whenever this commander's troop uses an active skill, it gains one of the following buffs for 4 seconds, chosen at random. I don't like that. I don't like, going to the lottery when I send out a commander.
I would have
Archer,
understood this expertise skill if it was 2, maybe 3, but 5 possibilities of getting one. That's
and they are
a
very
lottery, as you
different. I
said.
mean, they are good. 30% attack, 30% health, 30% defense, 20% more normal damage, or 20% more skill damage. So that's huge. Like, I think whatever you get, it's a huge boost for 4 seconds,
Yeah, but
which
I think
is
you'd prefer
crazy.
health over attack.
Yeah, definitely you would want health or the skill damage, I would say. The normal damage and the defense attack at last. But if you get very lucky on that one, damn, that's like punching away the garrison, I would say. I think that would be the new garrison meta. I'm not sure with what to pair. Maybe with Henry? Hard to
Yeah,
say.
most likely.
Um,
Henry, most likely.
the rally meta, yeah, I think the Henry would be good. Also, my question is, does this skill stack?
With no, it won't, because it casts with the active skill from this
Yeah,
commander.
but for
So
example, let's take Herman into our example, right? His expertise skill can cast twice, right? He has a chance to cast again, just like John, and that means a double active skill. So this could potentially stack. I'm not sure, but
I think at least from what I see in the description, it says from this commander. So it means from Ashur Banipal, or however you pronounce him. So I think from this commander means he would have to cast again, not his secondary.
Yeah, I don't think Furious means that. I think to respond to what Furious said, I don't think it stacks because it says clearly whenever this commander's troop uses an active skill, means if it's paired with Henry, well, if Henry is primary, if Henry is using his active skill, then he's gonna get this passive skill, and then 2 seconds after, when Ashur Banipal is going to use his active skill, actually is going to reset again into 4 seconds. It's not going to stack, if that
I
answers
see.
your
I see.
answer.
Yeah, I
Because
see. I see.
basically you have 2 times in a in a row to activate the active skill. So it's one after 2 seconds. So it's not stacking. It's a reset, most likely.
Yeah, but imagine if it's stacked, it's gonna be like crazy.
Yeah,
Like
it's
just
gonna be overpowered if
melt,
it stacks.
melt down like ice cream. Boom.
Yep,
Yeah.
It's GG. Yeah.
I agree. I hope that's not the case. Otherwise, I have to invest into archers, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't want to do that, but they look strong. Like, I think that's gonna be an archer meta right ahead of us. Like, that
yeah,
will
but
be the way to go for rallies.
you can say it's an archer rally if the garrison is Gorgo. If you put Jan Ziska and Heraclius, I don't think it's gonna be that good because the third skill and the fourth skill of Ashurbanipal is based on normal damage mitigation. So that's a counter to Gorgo. I don't think he's gonna do that well against Jan Ziska Heraclius pair.
But I
So
think you're forgetting the fourth skill is also adding up to 30% skill damage, and the third skill is also adding skill damage 20%. So the skill damage of this commander is insane high. Like, you get skill damage from all the sources. You get an insanely high nuke. you get skill damage increased on the third skill, on the fourth skill, and potentially on the expertise.
Yeah, I see your point.
So I think the skill damage of this commander is just ridiculous high, and I could imagine that he also goes well with Hermann simply because of the skill damage taken impact and the additional
Yeah,
skills to cast his expertise again. So
it's also gonna work well with Zhuge Liang, most
yep,
likely.
absolutely. Just because of the high skill
Yep.
damage, it will work already. Yeah,
This
that's.
commander looks good. I like it.
I agree, definitely. I agree. But yeah, I think that's it topic wise, right? Do you guys have any topics you wanna bring on right
No.
now?
For me, I think we're done here. Furious, if you wanna add something.
Yeah, Leon, could you tell us how did you get that Cleopatra in your room? Give us the story.
I I'm not gonna get into details, but all I can say is that I stole it, and nobody knows about it.
Oh, I see, I see. Good that you put it on stream so no one figures out, right?
No, I asked my permission from Asia, and she agreed because they're not gonna take them back to China, all the stands. So I had space in my car, so I took it because I liked it. I liked to have her by my side whenever I open my computer and play Rise of Kingdoms.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like that's
And
from the Cologne event fixed.
yeah, I just have to add is my wife doesn't like it, but she has no choice, eh?
Yeah. I, I see. No, it's not a green screen. It's actually like a Cleopatra in like,
Yeah,
real
it's a stand
size.
there, you see. I hope it's gonna
See?
fall. No, it's good.
That's like next level merch right there. But yeah, they said that they had a hard time getting all those stuff even to Cologne. Like they didn't want to bring stuff back because flying with all those stuff, etc., is a pain.
Yeah, but I think they printed them in Germany when we went to Cologne. They did it there. I don't think they brought it from China.
Watch the hand placement there, Leon.
Yeah, it might fall on me. Who knows?
Yeah, right,
And,
right.
and don't touch your boots, man. Your wife can watch the stream, you know.
Yeah, she's already watching, so I'm watching myself as well.
Okay, so we need to be careful what we say when we are on stream with you and Cleopatra, right?
Yeah, let's just wrap it up so we don't get into details.
All right, I see. Okay, cool. So I think that's it for the first podcast, right?
Yeah,
Episode 1, baby.
Episode 1, yeah. Not in general, that was the first episode. Whoops, I accidentally moved
Yeah.
the window in.
So those who viewed our stream, if they're gonna be kind enough to share it with friends, let people know that we are here for the community and we don't really stick up with the ways the game is going into the direction of the future. And we will be having a lot more discussions about subjects like these. And I think it's healthy and it's good for the community to keep them entertained and keep them closed. Close when it comes to being more friendly and not ruining KVKs, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah.
I absolutely agree. Yes, and I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who has participated today. I also put down all the links from everyone in the information box, so feel free to check out everyone and leave a like, subscribe, whatever. You know how it works. Ring the bell. I don't want to hit all the YouTuber phrases that everyone is basically saying. And thanks everyone in the chat who was participating and giving us inputs. That's a bit easier for us to keep the podcast alive, to get some inputs from everyone on the topics, to share different point of views and exchanging with the community. We definitely intend to do more podcasts. We're not sure if we want to, we will probably invite more guests, but that's supposed to be the core crew, and we will host on different channels. So make sure you're following every one of us in order to not miss a podcast. But as always, we will keep you informed throughout the Discords you're already on. And yeah, it was fun. It was a cool first podcast. I can't wait for the next one. And I'm really looking forward to the next update, to the update of Leon's KVK, the drama part 2, and the next episode with, everyone in here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun KVK, and everyone will be posted, especially on Facebook, because everyone there is very active when it comes to drama.
Oh yeah, that's right. We are here for the memes. That's
True,
definitely
true.
that's right. All right. Any
Yeah,
one of you guys has any other words?
yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining in, for tuning in. It was a nice episode, and for sure we're gonna be doing more, and we'll keep you posted about my how my KVK goes. If you like, check out my channel. There I'll be uploading videos, some funny, some serious, and probably there I'll be uh, uploading videos about how the KVK goes. I was looking forward to the fights, but I'm not sure if anything is gonna happen. So yeah, stay posted and have fun in the game, because it's not like Rise of Kingdoms is a game where you can enjoy yourself the moment you log in. There's always drama when it comes to Rise of Kingdoms, so you can basically call it Rise of Drama at this point.
Yeah,
Or Rise of Forts.
or
Or
Rise
Rise
of
of
Forts. Yeah,
exactly.
that's right. That's right, man. All right. Then
Yeah.
thanks, guys, and see you next time. Bye.
See you next time, guys.
See ya.
See ya.